Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Saratoga Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 9th of August, 2025. Gonna look the stakes races on the program from the spot, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and join me tomorrow for my Ellis Park Derby preview. Looks like it's going to be an excellent race there, so I hope you join me for that. But let's look at the stakes action from Saratoga races 9 and 10. The ninth event from Saratoga. It is a Saratoga Oaks Invitational. It's a grade 2 event going for a $500,000 purse. Races for 3-year-old fillies. Field of 6 horses going 1,800 meters or mile 3/16 on the Mellon Turf Course. Going to take the number 3 horse, Go Go Boots, as a top selection. 3146 for me in the superfecta. 3146 super, top selection 3 horse, Go Go Boots. This 3-year-old filly by Night of Thunder. Miguel Clement trains. Jose Ortiz gets on this one. First start in the Clement barn, previously trained by Jonathan and Thady Gosden in the UK. Ran most recently 19th of June at Royal Ascot, a mile and a half in the Group 2 Ribblesdale Stakes, where she finished fourth by 5 lengths that day, and she sat back early. She moved ever so slightly late. I didn't think it was a half bad race. I would like to see her back to a mile and a half in the future again, but I think coming back to a mile 3/16, she can find a trip to win. She just never got going in the Epsom Oaks prior to that. A mile and a half at Epsom, the 6th of June, finished ninth by 14 and a half lengths that day, and she just didn't show up. It wasn't her day to win. And then the Musadora Stakes at York over the mile and a quarter back in mid-May. She had a decent third place finish by 1 3/4 lengths that day, and she was with him early on. World just had the jump on her as a decent horse, but this horse, she got down the race course well, and then over the mile and a quarter at Linkfield on the poly track back in April, won by 3 lengths that day. She stalked, she got the lead, 15 cents to the dollar. Everybody and her mother knew she was going to win. That was a good run. Broke her maiden at Linkfield back in December quite easily also. Come back to a shorter trip. I think she could win. I think the one horse here, Opulent Restraint for Chad and Flavian, can win also. Most recently on this turf course in the Belmont Oaks, she finished third by 3/4 in length, where she just got overtaken late, but she didn't weaken out of it. She was fighting back that day, 19-1 off the bench. I thought she showed potential. She ran a very good place in the Memories of Silver prior to that at Aqueduct back in late spring, where again, she just kind of got overtaken late, but she just, she needs something more. She yields herself up before the wire. If she could keep the forwardly momentum going, I think she could win. When Flavian has gotten on this horse has really run terrifically. That Chelsea Flowers race back in October wasn't bad at all. Refreshing here, 2-1. I know it's not a great price, but I think she could win. Let's use her on the ticket. But to recap my selection for the ninth from Saratoga now, it is the grade 2 Saratoga Oaks. We're going to take the 3 horse Go Go Boots. Give kudos to the 1 horse Opulent Restraint. 3146 Super. 3-1 in the multi race. The featured 10th race from Saratoga. It is a Sword Dancer Stakes. It's a grade 1 event going for $750,000 purse. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. Field of 9 horses going 2,400 meters or a mile and a half here in the Sword Dancer. And I love it. This brings me back to my childhood. This weekend, when I was a kid, always the second weekend of August, we used to always be on vacation for our family summer vacation, and always that second weekend of August, that Saratoga was always the Sword Dancer. So it just brings me back to a special time seeing this race back to the second week of August. For the last like 10 or 12 years, it's been run on Travers Day, which I like also, but now they moved it up because they don't want to go ahead with those head to head with those Kentucky Down races, which could be a little dicey at times. But good with it being back to the old spot. As a top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 9 horse, who is Utah Beach. We're going to go 9156 in the superfecta. 9156 Super, top 9 horse Utah Beach. This 5-year-old going by English Channel. Nacho Correa's trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently in the Chorley Wood at Churchill, mile 3/8 on the 14th of June. 7 by 7 3/4 lengths that day. And he sat back early, had the check at the top of the lane, which lost any more forwardly momentum. He just yielded out of it after that. It wasn't his day to win. I think back to a mile and a half, hopefully a better trip. He could win here. I think a wide poster will be slightly to his advantage. He had a wide trip in Louisville Stakes at Churchill, mile and a half in mid-May. Winning by 1.5 lengths. He sat back early. He was stupidly wide late, but he came home clear. That was a very good, gritty performance. And then prior to that, the Elkhorn over the mile and a half at Keelan, winning by a head that day, coming from the back of the pack. He dueled to the wire. Limited liability was come back on him, but this horse, he hanged on. That was a good run. He's making a Saratoga debut today, but hasn't run half bad against similar other horses in the division. He likes this like given the turf course, a turf course that's not rock hard. Um, Coming here, I think he could find a trip to win. I think the one horse, El Cordobes for Godolphin and Flavien Prat win also. Quite interesting this year. Godolphin in the last couple years has had quite a few stateside runners running on the daily, it seems. This year, not so many. Charlie Alpi really cut back on his stock here stateside for the season. So maybe that's something, and also he's not having the best year in the UK either. But, that's just something to keep in mind that consider to what kind of horses he had running here last year. But this horse, he was a Royal Ascot winner, or not a Royal Ascot winner, a Newmarket winner last time out over the Prince of Wales, over the mile and a half. Our Princess of Wales winning by 2 lengths that day from a track trip. She got up the hill well, and he took off clear. That was a very good race. Ran in the Grand Cup Stakes at York over the mile 3/4 staying in June, where he finished third by 8 1/4 lengths that day. And I just do think the last 2 furlongs got to him. He weakened out of it. It wasn't his day to win. And then the Group 3 Aston Park Stakes in Newbury, he finished third by 3 lengths that day, and he was on the front end. He got overtaken late. It just wasn't his day to win, but he won a very nice handicap on Guineas Weekend at Newmarket over the mile and a half with ginormous weight on his back. He really came home clear. I think cutting here to a mile and a half at 4-1 between the two Godolphin horses, I think he's the most likeliest winner. We'll use him on the ticket. But to recap my selection now for the 10th from Saratoga, it is the Sword Dancer. Going to take the 9-horse Utah Beach. Give kudos to the 1-horse Al Cordorbis. 9156 Super, 9-1 in the multi race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.